TikTok compilation that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
When they say you're brainwashed for believing in Jesus, check this out.
No one ever thought I was crazy until I came to Christ. I was never brainwashed for all the esoteric ideologies that I believed in or all the New Age spiritual practices that I was engaged in. But when I started professing Christ as my Lord and Savior, then I was brainwashed. The irony with that is that all the other stuff that I was doing before, I was only doing because I thought it was a cool spiritual trend and it seemed to work for everyone else, so why not me? But nothing about Christianity ever actually appealed to me because it's not one of those things that's sold in the market as a self-healing tool. Speaking of brainwashing. But that's the thing, no one talked me into this. No one convinced me of Jesus. It was Jesus himself that convinced me of Jesus. The Bible says that the carnal mind cannot perceive spiritual things. So when you have that supernatural revelation of God's love and it completely transforms your heart from the inside out, the carnal world literally cannot comprehend it. So through the lens of the spiritual blinders, they say you're brainwashed. When the truth is, it's the world that has been brainwashed into rejecting that love of Jesus.
Yes.
I spent 10 years in New Age spirituality and no one batted an eye, but when I came to Christ, everyone around me thought I lost my mind. When the reality is, I was actually of sound mind for the first time in my life. Because that's the truth of it. It's not that I was brainwashed, it's that I was washed clean. And that's my prayer for you watching this. If you think Christianity is crazy, please be honest with yourself and asking the question, do you have true joy? Because the joy of the Lord is real and it is my strength. And he died for you to have that too.
Follow me for more Christian content.
The world is brainwashed, but Jesus washed our heart and brain.
Mike whispers in Ruth's ear. Ruth then talks to me and says, Mike wants to know how come Prince hasn't acknowledged him on stage. Prince then comes in front of us, walks through the crowd, aims the bass at Mike's face, and then like, and Mike's like, this dude like flicks his hair and walks off. And then Mike's like, okay, I gotta go. Meet me at my house for breakfast. And so I'm like, all right. So I go to his house for breakfast. As soon as I open up the door, he's like, why did Prince play the bass in my face? I was like, oh no, I just think he was just trying to respect. No, you don't get it. He's a meanie. One time he tried to run me and my mama over with a car. Fast forward, Quincy Jones calls me. He's like, hey, Will.i.am, man. I'm like, Quincy, I've just been traveling, you know, and working with Mike at the same time. Mike came with me to see Prince perform. You did what? I'm like, yeah, he came to see me perform with Prince. He's like, listen, Prince tried to run that nigga over with a car.
Can you imagine the songs they could have created if they collaborated together?
This is a kidney, y'all. Look at all of these stones. Look at the nephrons. They're corroded with acidosis and look at all of this. This is calcium bicarbonate. This is what happens when you drink soda and you don't drink enough H3O2 or enough H2O. This is what happens to the kidneys. Do you know the kidneys is literally the life to the blood? Because without the kidneys, it's impossible for you to circulate and regulate oxygen with iron phosphate with this side of the blood, y'all. And most of y'all kidneys look like this right now. And when the kidneys go down, guess what else go down with it? The heart. Because the heart and the kidneys are closely assimilated with each other. I'll call them twins, or I'll call them brothers and sisters. And in some lectures, I call them husband and wife. Because that's how close they are together. This is what we're doing to our kidneys.
I only drink water and coconut water. That's it. No sodas, no sweet drinks.
I remember walking through the open field and there's these craters, like holes in the ground. I'm like, what is this stuff? So I looked back at my spotter and something told me, I was like, dude, if something goes wrong, we're coming back to these holes. The town starts to wake up and I'm just getting these bad vibes. Took my night vision off, try to blend in with the terrain as much as possible. And there's two guys on a moped and he rolls up and I put my laser on him. I'm like, dude, he's going, to the objective. Put my laser on him, my laser light, and he sees it. And I'm waving around in his chest. He can't see me in the grass yet, but he looks down at his chest. He stops the bike and he looks down at his chest and he looks up in that direction of where I was at. I'll never forget the look in his eyes of hate, just hate, bro. And he backs up, does a Yui and goes away. And I was like, this isn't good. This is not good. And then in front of us, a huddle forms, like a football huddle. These guys get into a huddle and me and my spotter are looking at them. I call back to the recce team lead. I'm like, hey, can we smoke these guys?
What?
He's like, do they have weapons? And I'm like, no. but I just got a bad feeling, man. Like the way everything about them, they were planning and looking around, looking at where they thought we were, and it just felt weird. They were all in this huddle, and then no shit, bro. They're like, ready, break.
I'm no expert, but if a sniper is spotted and gave away, his position, doesn't that defeat the purpose of being a sniper?
Boeing officially now have a criminal record after they pled guilty today to a criminal fraud conspiracy charge, but their punishment was to pay a fine of $243 million, which is approximately 0.31% of their revenue in 2023 alone. And because of that, the question now being asked is Boeing too important and too big to be held fully accountable? You see, Boeing is one of the largest and most important companies in America. It is one of the world's two main manufacturers of large commercial jets. It ranks among the top 5 US defense contractors. It employs more than 170,000 people globally, and it makes vital contributions to the US economy by generating revenues of nearly $78 billion last year alone. So what happens when a company is so big that punishing them equates to punishing everyone else? Well, that is exactly what's being debated right now, because 5 years ago, 2 of Boeing's planes crashed just a couple of months apart, 346 people. It emerged that corners had been cut during those aircraft's design and regulators had been lied to. Boeing agreed to a settlement of $2.5 million and to terms that would force them to improve their aircrafts and their safety. But now the DOJ found that in the years following that settlement, Boeing didn't adhere to those terms, leading us to this new fine of $243 million. Oh, and a criminal record. But the families of those lost in the crash are furious because they had wanted a much steeper penalty. And lawmakers in Washington are now expressing concerns that Boeing may be too important to be held fully accountable. So the question is, do you think that Boeing's punishment should be far greater? Or would that punishment just affect their employees and customers?
As a company responsible for the safety of millions, Boeing's punishment should have been stricter for the sake of accountability.
This was absolutely brilliant from Denzel Washington. Watch this.
Do you think we've made any headway?
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds. I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, yeah, they're little yummies. I said, who? He said, little yummies. Look up, Google Lil Yummy. Lil Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, and he's like this. Ooh. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old. Do you blame the system? Where was his father? Yeah. It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And yeah, well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his father? I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they did, 15 to 25. One did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't. We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7. We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing.
Wow, absolutely spot on.
Yes.
What a guy. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.
Some parents believe education starts in school. It starts with the parents at home. Panwaburi Beachfront Resort, Thailand, everyone.
Meth make a person demonic? Absolutely it can. I have seen demons within people that are on meth when I was on meth. People that were like my best friends growing up, and later on when they got into that, they just became absolutely evil. I mean, I'm talking like I looked into their eyes and I saw demons. And then I became demonic when I did enough of it. It can definitely make people demonic. And how does that even happen? Why does that happen to an individual? You know, when a person lives that lifestyle and they're doing it day in and day out and they're not sleeping, between the sleep deprivation, between being malnourished, not even eating anything, between being dehydrated, and on top of that, living living that hustle of a lifestyle where your get down is just to get up in the morning if you even slept the night before and go get it, then after a while, when anything gets in your way, anybody wants to stop you, if people start complaining to you, if people say you're messed up, the demons come out of you. And then you're going to argue that. And then you're going to get mean. And then you're going to get monstrous. And then you're going to get demonic. So that can definitely happen for lots of different people. That's why a lot of people that will find me will ask me, like, what do I do with the situation? And really, it's a dangerous situation. Often I have to tell them, you need to take care of yourself and stay away from that. How do you get the demons out of the person? I'll make another video about that. But you can call me at 310-596-9356.
I saw a video about lady high on meth. She looked like she was demon possessed. Alcohol also attracts demons.
There is a new trend in Mexico that I keep hearing about from a lot of the realtors here. Mexican citizens that left Mexico to go work in the United States and work their asses off, sometimes living, many people in a home just to save money. Well, now a lot of those people have saved enough money that they're coming back and they're retiring in Mexico, or they're coming back to build businesses in Mexico. And this is something I think is very cool to see, where these people, left their country, they went to the United States, they took very difficult jobs, they worked their entire, lives working their asses off, and now they're able to basically see the results of all that effort, and instead of staying in the United States, they're coming right back to Mexico. And I think they're doing that because they're seeing a lot of the things that I'm seeing as well, where Mexico is just poised to be the next great economic superpower, and they're wanting to, live in a life that's very similar to what they're accustomed to in the United States that's no longer available.
This has been going on for years. And it's not just happening in Mexico. People from other countries do the same thing. They work for 3 years straight, then go back to their home country to open businesses.
It has just been announced that the referee for England's semi-final match against Netherlands will be Felix Zweier, who has previously served a 6-month ban for match fixing. The German ref was found to have accepted a €300 bribe in 2005 from fellow referee Robert Heuser. I mean, 300's a little low. Robert was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, while Felix was banned for 6 months. Then, in 2021, Jude Bellingham complained about Felix after a controversial match against Bayern Munich, saying, "You give a referee that has match fixed before the biggest game in Germany, then what do you expect?" Bellingham was subsequently fined €40,000 for that comment and was investigated by the German police, while Felix took a 2-month break from officiating. Now, many are criticizing the decision to give this ref such a massive game in the Euros, but others say that England are just getting in their excuses early. So the question is, do you think that this is a poor choice of ref or not?
If bro was banned for 6 months, why on earth is he officiating in one of the biggest tournaments?
I swear to God, these dogs are gonna... Arthur and Patricia!
That's their name?
How is this a thing?
Who names their dog Patricia?
Get off the roof right now! That's not even funny! Get down!
Arthur's like,
whose
which way
bright
do we
idea
go?
was that anyway? Get down now!
Of course the Labrador got Arthur to do this dumb shit. Of course.
No,
Don't
stop
jump,
right
bro.
there. Stop
Don't
right
jump.
there. Thank
Don't
you.
jump, bro.
Patty, he's never done that before, and you just taught him.
Yep, I believe it. Look at her face. Look at her
Arthur.
face. She guilty.
How convenient.
The terrier stayed
How
in the
convenient,
house. Y'all
Arthur.
see that, right?
Oh, this Arthur.
Where's Patricia?
The terriers didn't go out.
Oh, you're both down. I hate dogs.
God bless them. And do you hear the goats in the background? This is a whole show, folks.
Alan Watts says if you were a god and you wanted to dream any dream you could, in one night you dream 75 years of life, you'd have every experience, you'd have every pleasure. After a while you'd get bored, you'd come out, you'd go, that's great, but that's not enough anymore. You get used to it. Then you would go back into the dream, but this time you'd not want to know what happens. And that's the exhilarating part. Every time you'd come out and you'd remember that you're God. And then that would be the thing that you get addicted to. You start going back again and again and again until you start dreaming that you're living the life that you're living right now.
Wow.
So the idea is just fundamentally that we are all the ultimate reality. We are all gods. We're just pretending not to be.
And the judge didn't go for that?
As of right now, I am still going to prison.
Come for the punchline. Stay for the philosophy. Well done, boys.
You love me? I'm not gonna prove it today. I bet that was mean. Okay, now what is it?
The eyes were the punctuation.
Saw this dude give a story on TikTok where he went to Bluff City, Utah. He's like, I don't believe in this whole simulation, but what I experienced there had me question if we're in a simulation. He said, every place I went, we were at this hotel, and then we went to a grocery store and then a restaurant. People were weird acting. They were like not expecting someone to come in. So he went to the hotel clerk and he said, hey, can we get some towels for our room? She's like, oh, actually, I don't know where they're at. This is my first day on the job. What? And then he went to the store. Something wasn't working.
Weird.
And she's like, I'm so sorry, this is my first day on the job.
Weird.
And then he went to a restaurant and the card wasn't working. And she's like, I don't actually know how to work this machine. This is my first day on the job.
You're like a Truman
Then
Show.
another guy who duetted it, he stopped in Bluff City and he saw this hitchhiker girl walking on the side of the road. He said 30 miles down, the same girl
Stop it
was
right
walking.
now.
I think I saw something similar to that, but like it always reminds me of the Truman Show. There's got to be a civilization or a community that's pulled that off or done that in the past. No matter how terrible it is, something's happened.
North Korea.
Time to go to Bluff City, folks.
You know, after the Civil War, there was 100,000 Confederate soldiers that moved down to Brazil, and they still have a city in Brazil. It's called Americana.
What the heck?
Yeah,
100,000 Confederate soldiers went down to the south of Brazil to say, like, hey, we're going to keep the South alive in a new country. Every year, they have a festival commemorating the Confederate soldiers.
It's crazy.
That's in Brazil.
Stop.
And apparently there's some people that have went there and said, we had no idea that's what the history of this town was, but it's actually a pretty nice city.
Apparently, the older people in Americana, Brazil, they have like a combination of a southern accent and they like roll their R's. Yeah, like,
Brazil.
Yeah, we live in Brazil.
That's
It's crazy. But they said they started planting tobacco, cotton, all this stuff. And it says that half of them, 10 years in, ended up leaving because they're like, this is really hard to keep up with all these crops. And so it's like, well, yeah, because you don't have slaves.
It was never 100,000. It was under 20,000. And the town called Santa Barbara de Oeste, not Americana.
English not your first language?
Correct. Russian is my first language.
It's pretty incredible, man. What is it that allows some people to take on a second language and speak just undetectably well? You would never know that English is not your first.
I think it's age. They say if you come before age 10, you generally don't get the accent. For example, my sister, she's 9 years older than me. She has a heavy accent.
Okay.
Like you can hear definitely she's from Soviet Russia.
Wow.
I came as an immigrant from Russia, so American culture was very new to me. But Jackass was almost the beginning of that for me, so it's so cool.
English is my third language. I speak Indonesian, Mandarin, English, and I'm learning Russian right now.
The whale carcass decoy that you're seeing now is a research platform to study great white sharks. Here, scientists are triggering a mega rupture to release 200 gallons of synthetic blood to lure the sharks. Several male sharks came first.
Ooh.
Wow, these are big boys! Here comes the large female.
The experiment helps scientists test the so-called queen boss theory. Based on this theory, genetically distinct clans of great white sharks form around reproductive superstar females.
Epic. If that's true, then Big Blue or Deep Blue, whatever she is, the mega white shark, she should have lots of large, mature males around her.
This predator is literally about to throw his phone on the ground and destroy it. He says he has a little daughter that's 12 years old. He came to meet a 13-year-old girl for. He says he has a warrant. His name's Paul. This individual is 3380 Lancaster Drive Northeast. He's running across the street, Chevron on foot. White male, camo pants, black sweater, 3321. I don't know where I'm at. Yes, 13 years old. Don't let him in. Don't let him in. Let him in. Let him in, actually. Let him in. Let him in. 3321 Harl Drive Northeast. He just broke his phone. He's breaking his phone. Harl, he's breaking his phone. Throwing his phone on the ground, breaking his phone, destroying evidence. People versus predator.
Imagine what else was on his phone for him to risk another charge of destroying evidence on video. And I gotta say, the camera work is incredible, super stable.
It's breaking his phone. His phone is destroyed.
It's not over?
He's on drugs for sure. He's pulling something out of his sweater because he's got pin needle eyes. He just destroyed a pipe. Yeah, he just destroyed a pipe, so he had some drugs on him also.
Dude.
Pipe or some 3320 Harold. Yes, man. Attempting to break his phone more. Towards the Chevron. Past the Chevron. I think he may be trying to hurt himself too. Earlier he said he wanted to hurt himself. Yes, ma'am. He has something in his hand. He has something in his hand. He was just trying to use a pin, I think, on his neck.
This is not really an open space. Let me show you how space can truly be open. It's called SpaceTop. It's an AR laptop that lets you work anywhere. I can focus, breathe, and finally think. In other words, I can execute. When I can spread my work canvas on the real outside world, inspiration becomes limitless.
This is kind of nice. If they just sold the glasses compatible to all PCs, they would disrupt the market.
Video was just released on June 22nd, 2024, so just the other day, and it hasn't been seen by many at all, only garnering a few thousand views. The exclusive video comes from a trail camera placed in the woods. It was placed to monitor a hunter's feeding area and to watch the wildlife that comes by. But at around 2 in the morning, it captured something that sent chills down the hunter's spine.
What? Oh, come on, bro.
First, a little girl in a straggly white dress walks quickly into frame and sits down.
She's creep walking.
Then she quickly stands up again and jogs away as something seems to be following her. A white shadowy presence lurks behind, but becomes more defined as it gets closer and closer to the trail camera. The way it crawls around on the ground doesn't seem human. Its face seems to be featureless except its glowing eyes. It has long dark hair and seems to be wearing a white robe. Everything about this encounter is downright unsettling, and the camera owner still has no clue what to make of it. Some are hypothesizing that this was a lost little girl being chased by a demonic presence. A jinn, to be specific. Jinns are malevolent spirits that come from the Muslim culture. They are said to be able to shapeshift and take on many different forms, including humans.
Nice try. Anyone who owns a trail cam knows the digital footage would be much clearer. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment.
If you hear this in church, then run for the door. Watch this.
In the image of God, you created everything and called it good.
In abundant diversity, your likeness is found in us.
We reject all messages that belittle or degrade any among us.
And so in faithfulness to God and one another we proclaim.
Sacred are our bodies of every size and disability. Blessed are our sexualities, drawing us towards love of many kinds. Every gender, revealing you in different ways.
Now, if you stand for the truth and Jesus, then follow me right now.
Don't run. Rebuke the demonic spirits and repeat Jesus said, unless ye repent, you will likewise perish. Then calmly walk out.
Dark circles under your eyes. That's always kidneys. Kidneys and kidneys, some dark circles under your eyes do show indications that the liver is not working or processing properly. But usually that's most definitely talking about the kidneys. You need a kidney and adrenal cleanse. If you don't want to buy it off the site, what you can do is get you some parsley leaf, get you some cilantro to make sure that you're getting any metals out of the kidneys, get you some hydrangea root to break up any calcification or solidification of calcium in the kidneys. Parsley is very good for the kidneys, and cleaver's leaf. Do all equal parts, make it as a tea, sip on it 3 times a day, and that will get the inflammation out of the kidneys, get the acid out of the kidneys, and open up the detoxification metabolic pathways for the kidneys can start filtering again.
I only get them when I stay up too late for too many days in a row.
Cayenne pepper is a blood stimulant, and anything that stimulates blood stimulates healing. Cayenne pepper will thin the blood. Cayenne pepper will rebuild heart muscle. Cayenne pepper will strengthen the arterial walls. You can use it internally. You can use it for a sore throat. Yes, it'll tingle at first, but once the tingling dies down, the sore throat is greatly relieved. You can use it for low hydrochloric acid. It'll wake anything up. It wakes stomachs up. One doctor says it's impossible to abuse cayenne pepper. Another doctor says it will never cause a lesion. It feels like it's burning, but really it's just stimulating. You can use it externally. If someone has no feeling in their feet, or they have peripheral neuropathy, or if someone continually has cold feet. Perfect health requires perfect circulation, and perfect circulation means your feet and your hands are warm. So what you do if someone has cold feet, now what I've got is I've got a double layer of kitchen paper, and I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of olive oil, and you spread it over the area, because what you want to do is put enough olive oil on there so that the cayenne pepper will stick to it. And now I'm going to sprinkle cayenne pepper. We'd do about half a teaspoon to a foot. And then the foot goes straight on that, and that will never burn. Then you put the foot straight on there, and you put the Glad wrap over, and then you put a sock on. If I put that on someone with no feeling in their feet, by morning they're telling me they've got pins and needles in their feet. For someone with very poor circulation, cold feet, it sometimes will take a few days. If I did that on my feet 2 nights in a row, I'd want my feet in ice water all day. My feet would get too hot.
Barbara O'Neill is amazing. I want to try this.
I'm sorry. I was in a trance.
Yeah, what? Speaking of showing us, 2 Chainz, you got a shot, 2 Chainz? You got a shot? Let me see that shot, dog.
What? Hey, dog.
Look at this reporter's face when Hillary Clinton also did something unexpected. Okay, before I tell you why I've shown you these people acting in this way, I want to make something abundantly clear. I don't know how many of these celebrities are staging something just to get us talking, or how many of them are just a little eccentric in their personalities, or perhaps it really is, as the other side of the internet claims, maybe something bigger is happening beneath the surface. But what I do know is that people need to stop calling us Christians crazy and irrational just because we put our faith in the Lord Jesus.
Amen.
And just because we believe in the stories of the Bible.
Yep.
So why did I show you those people? Well, the truth is this: the people of the world who don't believe in Jesus and don't believe in the stories of the Bible are often much more unusual and unstable in many ways.
MK Ultra, their puppet handlers isn't far behind them.
So basically, human bodies we grow in our lab. They're organically real. Bones, tissue, organs, everything. These are the best bodies you'll ever have. Period. Nothing can hurt these bodies, but they are human. So if something were to happen to them, you can always change them out for a new one. That's
What?
why it's exists. Immortality becomes non-existent. Because you can be 50 in one body and change your next body. You're as young as you feel. You come this way, David's going to show you some 2018 models that you can choose from.
You can choose which sleeve you desire. Now you can either have the sleeve that you have right now, or we have a selection of wonderful sleeves that we have made. Recycle, fully genuine and organic produce. Yeah. Now if you'd like to be taller, shorter, skinnier,
No
like to
way.
have better vision, maybe strengthen your body, you have the choice to choose a man or a woman's sleeve. Now, if your sleeve becomes damaged or too old for your liking, simply remove from the cortical stack your DHF, your consciousness, to another, newer sleeve.
I knew they had this technology, but it only for the super rich at the moment. Eventually, it will be made available for everyone, I reckon. What do you think?
The most unknown signs of parasites. Since there are no reproducible medical tests to check if you really have parasites, here are the 5 most important signs. Number 1 is constipation. Parasites release enzymes that reduce intestinal motility, which means that you get digestive issues like bloating, gas, and abdominal cramps. Number 2 is rectal itching. If somebody comes to me with rectal itching, I know for sure they must have parasites. Number 3 is sinus congestion and recurring infections. Especially the chronic congestion is often caused by the parasites because they disturb our natural immune system. Number 4 is skin problems like eczema, like rashes, like acne. Again, parasites disrupt the natural immune system, and this is why the bacteria can be released on the skin and causing these clogging and these infectious diseases. Number 5 is the iron and the zinc deficiency. Again, because the parasites deplete and eat up your storages of these essential minerals. If you have any of these symptoms and you want to detox from heavy metals, from parasites, and from other toxins, then I recommend you to join my detox masterclass right now.
I use charcoal and woodworm, and seems to help. Watch what you eat and cook, folks.
Today, I'm excited to announce our newest, most capable generative video model called Veo. Veo creates high-quality 1080p videos from text, image, and video prompts. It can capture the details of your instructions in different visual and cinematic styles. You can prompt for things like aerial shots of a landscape or a time-lapse, and further edit your videos using additional prompts. You can use Veo in our new experimental tool called Video FX. We're exploring features like storyboarding and generating longer scenes. Veo gives you unprecedented creative control. Veo builds upon years of our pioneering generative video model work, including GQN, Phenaki, Walt, Video Poet, Lumiere, and much more. Over the coming weeks, some of these features will be available to select creators through Video Effects at labs.google. And the wait list is open now.
I just joined the waiting list. I have high anticipation. Can't wait to try Veo. And I can officially tell you, but I can tell you the next version of Sora will dwarf this. Sora already does 4K 2 times 1080p.
I bet you didn't know this. What if I told you that before you were born, you made an agreement called the soul contract, a contract that outlines your life's journey, challenges, and relationships. These soul contracts are stored within the Akashic Records, the cosmic library that contains everything that has happened in the past, is happening in the present, or will happen in the future. Imagine an entire blueprint of your life, crafted with the wisdom of your higher dimensional self. A blueprint that details all the lessons you need to learn, the people you will meet, and the experiences you must undergo to fulfill your soul's purpose. A roadmap designed for your spiritual evolution, guiding you towards growth and enlightenment. But there is even more. These contracts often include karmic relationships, those souls you've encountered in past lives with unfinished business to resolve. The challenges you face are not random. They're deliberate choices to foster growth, resilience, and wisdom. Accessing the Akashic Records can reveal these soul contracts, providing insight into life's purpose. Through specific meditation and spiritual practices, this repository can be accessed. What do you think your soul contract would say?
I understand the concept, but here's my issue. If we are sent back here over a lifetime without any memory of what we've learned, we start from square one again. So what is the purpose, or what is the last? There is no reincarnation, folks. Don't get deceived. Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Can you imagine crashing out because a cashier gave you a pink lighter?
Total's gonna be $325. My boy, bro, like, you doing some weird shit, bro. What? What you give me a pink lighter for, bro? Take that shit back. Hey, yo, chill, bro. Hey, bro, bro, what the fuck? All of this over a pink.
Now, apparently this video is old, but it's going viral again, and I can see why. I mean, a grown man crashing out because you gave him a pink lighter is genuinely something that only happens in skits. And apparently it happens in real life too if you're a man that happens to be that damn insecure. I mean, bro, I get it. Maybe pink isn't your favorite color. But why would it trigger you to that point where you're damaging property? I don't get it. If anything, bro should take this moment and self-reflect and realize he has a lot of trauma he probably needs to work on. Deep down, I really do hope this was a skit, because if there is really men running around like this, we are in some trouble.
Yeah. You need pink lighters. Nobody steal the pink lighter.
This is the viral no-screen laptop. So you've probably seen a YouTuber or journalist hype up Spacetop, but I haven't seen them use this in real life. So let me show you what it's like switching my laptop with augmented reality for a month. 3 parts of my life have changed forever. Just don't tell my boss about the last one. 3. Couches. I do most of my work with terrible posture, but with this laptop, my screens can be at eye level, on the ceiling, on the floor, or even behind me. 2. Monitors. So the sickest PC setup has multiple monitors, but I can't really bring monitors outside. So I use this to get unlimited virtual monitors that can be up to 100 inches wide. 1. Privacy. No one knows what I'm working on, or even if I'm working at all. You can switch to a Spacetop here, cause this man...
I think the price is starting from 1800 now. I'm an IT guy. I love this kind of stuff. This is good for trading forex, crypto, or stocks.
Made $500,000 because he couldn't find anyone to watch the Chicago Bulls game with him. It's October 26, 1984, and an 18-year-old freshman at Northwestern named Michael Cole got 2 tickets to go see the Chicago Bulls home opener. But he didn't really have any friends at school yet, and everyone he asked to go said no, so he went alone. The Bulls were coming off 3 terrible seasons in a row where they didn't make the playoffs, and that night there were thousands of empty seats in the arena. However, it turned out to be one of the most significant games in basketball history, Michael Jordan's NBA debut. After the game, walking out of Chicago Stadium, Cole threw out his ticket stub, but he decided to hang on to the other unused ticket. When he got home, he placed it in a folder and forgot about it for decades. In 2022, he saw Michael Jordan's collectibles were gaining popularity, so he put his ticket on auction. It ended up selling for $468,000 because it was the only full ticket from the game known to exist.
Imagine if Jordan signed the ticket.
Right, why the hell is that ladder so small? Oh, that's why, because it goes in the bloody ocean. What? No, and they're just sitting there in their little jacket. Mate, just... That's where my Amazon parcel's gone. Oh, no, it's dropped.
Ooh.
Who's going to go in there and get all of it? Because it isn't going to be me, Sharon. The ocean has it now. Hey, you asked for prime delivery. Ocean took it instead. What if some... Oh my god, that's so... Surely that just kills someone. They're not even going to stop the boat. They're going to be like, yo,
forget
your
about
parcels
it.
have got... What's even in them? Imagine when people are diving and they just see this massive pallet of something. What's even in there? Someone's electric toothbrush, maybe? Oh, I'm done.
So what do they actually do when they lose containers in the sea? Let me know in the comment.
Sourdough bread. This is a big surprise. Sourdough is actually made with lactobacillus inside the dough. Now, there's been research studies looking at the number of different types of lactobacillus that are present in sourdough, the dough itself. Lactobacillus reuteri, which originally is delivered from the mom. Something that is startling is we're realizing that this bacteria, Lactobacillus reuteri, lives in the colon. When the mom is 9 months pregnant, there's a signal sent from the uterus to the colon, and it causes this bacteria to come out of the colon inside blood cells. It kind of like calls an Uber, picks up a cell, and it rides all the way to the breast, where it lives. It gets out of the Uber by the nipple. And when the actual breastfeeding begins, the mother's milk injects this bacteria into the baby.
Ooh.
And so this is another example of how the microbiome actually works. It turns out that this bacteria actually can reduce the growth of breast cancer.
Wow.
And it comes from breastfeeding. And at least in the laboratory, if the mom actually is able to breastfeed with the Lactobacillus reuteri, it'll protect 4 generations later on against breast cancer. So again, really powerful stuff that we're beginning to, but that is present in sourdough bread.
Be careful, most sourdough is fake. They add vinegar to make it smell like real sourdough bread.
Church in South Carolina has gone viral recently, even widely talked about on the national news, and it all starts with a few very strange sermons. A younger looking pastor by the name of Pastor JP is on stage giving a sermon. He says, if you ever want to know what's going on in my life, it's always what I'm preaching about. God is so good to do that every single time. One day, I'm going to preach about getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just kidding. I told you I shouldn't be here today. I shouldn't be here today. He holds both of his hands up like he's surrendering, and it's kind of the whole congregation laughs. But maybe it's a slightly uncomfortable laugh because there on his ring finger on his left hand is a wedding band. Pastor JP is talking about finding a hot wife that loves Jesus when he's already married to his wife, who is also very active in the church. It's weird. It's humiliating for his wife. It sounds like he wants a new wife. Honestly, that's what it sounds like. But that's not even what makes these sermon videos circulate all over mainstream media and on social media. It's not until a few weeks later, Pastor JP gives another sermon. Pastor JP is standing in front of his congregation where he says in this high-pitched, shaky voice, I got to lay next to her, spend time with her about 4 times this week, and each time it still didn't hit me.
I thought she was going to wake up, you know. I even tried to raise her from the dead one time this week. And,
This sermon is from his wife's funeral after she was found dead in a national park. A sermon Pastor JP gives on how he tried to resurrect his wife from the dead because he couldn't believe it. But in that sermon, he fails to mention that she was in the process of separating from him. She had alleged that he groomed her since she was 15 years old, that he was allegedly having an affair with another woman from the church, and a long list of allegations of abuse that have been made against him. That was omitted from the sermon.
His wife was beautiful. And if you're from the area and know about this, please drop a comment. Thank you.
Red light therapeutics or light therapies can actually help to diffuse the proliferative growth of cancer cells they call tumors, polyps, cysts, lesions. They know and do publish that light therapy, which includes infrared light, are able to dissolve, it appears, tumors, masses in the body they're calling cancers. But you don't hear about that. You'll hear about chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery as your only options. Why? If you're already making trillions of dollars a year around the world with this tech, why would you change it? You could study it, but why would you tell anybody? You already make trillions off of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. Why in the world would you want to shoot yourself in the foot and tell people you can cure them with light?
Castor oil also dissolves tumors, cysts, bone spurs, etc. Apply it to a clot and wrap it around the area.
A phone call off this Willie Moore. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are disrespecting me, disrespecting my family, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, you're a fucking millionaire. You've had your go. Let us make some fucking money off this shit and put the phone down on him. Within 3 weeks, mate, he's went and hired a gunman, SAS gunman, Darren Waterhouse. So the gunman was a Goldstream guard, you know, stands outside Buckingham Palace. They've hired him to come and murder me, basically. But they fucked up and ended up murdering an 18-year-old kid. Put him in the grave, put my brother in a coma, got the kid who sat next to me in the back. And I was the only one that survived it. So basically, we're sat in a car, 4 of us. We come out of our estate. And my little brother who's driving my car says, get on that car with its lights off. So we slam it reverse and we're looking at the driver. As we're looking at the driver, the back door opens. The gunman was lying down on the back seat, came out the back door, feet first, and then crouched behind the door that was open so you still couldn't see him. So you could see the door open.
Can't see no one.
But you're not seeing no one get out the car because he's sliding out feet first and going into a crouch position behind the door. Then he pops out and lets one shot off at the passenger window. I've told my little brother to put his foot down. He's let the clutch out too fast, stalled on the spot. So the gunman's just went like a soldier, zigzagged right up to the passenger seat and got me mate, point blank.
Thinking it was you?
Thinking it was me. He's working down his chest, point blank, empties the clip on him. All them bullets that are going through Craig. So that's the passenger window. The gunman's come through. So Craig's trying to get away from him. So he's over the central console, you know, the handbrake and that.
Yep.
He's over that now with his back on my youngest brother. So all them bullets that are going through him are coming out his back and going straight into my little brother. Wow. So he does the shooting. I heard a little bang, car screech off.
SAS, emptying max, not hitting targets. Something doesn't align with those three statements. There will soon be an AI that can detect lies with 100% accuracy. And these storytellers are going to get wrecked.
To let you know, the police have been called, and they will be here shortly. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, because you've broken the law. What you've done is illegal.
Yeah. Now I'm panicking.
Yeah, don't panic.
No, I am, because I'm going to lose my job.
But was you panicking when you was here to meet the child?
No, but I'm going to lose my job now.
Exactly. Yeah, but you should have thought about that before you start speaking to children. What's the youngest person you've been speaking to?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Well, I know that that's a lie for a start. Because you can drop a year off that straight away. And the
what?
And the reason you can be nicked anyway. And the reason I know that is because they're both from my team.
Please don't get upset. It's too late to be upset. You should have been upset yesterday.
I'm going to be charged. I'm going to be in the cell.
You are, yeah.
I don't like it.
The 14-year-old wouldn't have liked it, eh?
Let's not have a balling act.
Hey, that child wouldn't have liked it. You was here now to meet her. You was expecting to walk away with her 5 minutes ago.
Walk away?
Well, what was you going to do with her then?
I was just going to take her to places.
Please don't.
British people are so nice. He said, I'm Nick. He knew it was over. And what does he sound like that?
That MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. That nigga was deep with niggas.
That wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have, I know who Hammer was affiliated with, and he wouldn't have to pay to tell somebody to somebody up. His people would just do it. We from Oakland. Like, he wouldn't even have to say it. They just, if somebody was making Hammer uncomfortable, without him saying I'm uncomfortable, somebody around him would have came to you and said, quit making Hammer uncomfortable.
Hammer was raw dog. He did his thing. I actually used to like him. I mean, you know what I'm saying, on the real tip. People be talking, talking about Hammer, but run up on him.
Hammer beat you.
I bet he'll beat
your monk ass. Run up on Hammer.
Everyone's been buzzing about Diddy being the boogeyman of hip-hop. And don't get me wrong, Diddy is definitely not someone you'd want to cross paths with. But let's spill the real tea here. The true boogeyman of hip-hop is none other than MC Hammer. Yes, you heard that right. Don't let the optics fool you. Hammer was not the one to play with.
Whether people understand it or not, there is a certain amount of murder and death that comes along with the game. That's a part of doing business.
Back in the day, as Hammer's fame skyrocketed, fellow rappers couldn't resist taking jabs at him, mocking his flashy style and pop-friendly beats. But here's the juicy part. They had no idea that Hammer was secretly one of the most dangerous players in the game. Picture this. MC Hammer once checked Redman so hard that Redman had to eat his words and apologize. And that's not even the half of it. Word on the street is that Hammer even put out a $50,000 hit on someone who disrespected him. And get this. Word on the street is that MC Hammer is the only man Suge Knight was afraid of.
Why do you think his name Hammer? Old school don't play.
The University of Nebraska took 1/4 pound patty that was headed to McDonald's from a big processing plant and ran some tests on it. They were testing for how many different strains of DNA they could find in that 1/4 pound. Can you guess how many they found? Over 1,300 different strains of DNA were found in that 1/4 pound patty. Now this is very concerning. Over at the shop, we process one animal, take all the whole muscle trim from that one animal, and make our ground beef. So you got over 1,300 different animals in 1/4 pound, or one animal in all those chubs of ground beef that we sell. Something you guys might want to consider next time you guys are buying beef. And remember, guys, buy American and buy local.
Yep, I buy all my beef from a small local producer. You can definitely taste the difference.
This is why people don't like to buy a Rolls Royce. First, the Flying Lady hood ornament is too unsafe and can easily scratch pedestrians. I might even have to pay for their clothes. Second, the suspension is too soft. When going over speed bumps or bumpy roads, it doesn't give me any driving feel. It's not sporty or exciting at all. It feels like sitting in an office, which makes me very sleepy and unsafe. Third, the car is too long. When I go to narrow streets, there's often nowhere to park. It's really a headache. Fourth, the quality control is terrible. They even installed the doors the wrong way around. I'm afraid people will laugh at me when I drive it. Fifth, it's too niche. I hardly see anyone driving this car on the road, which makes me feel embarrassed. Sixth, you can't take it on long trips or travel long distances. Every long trip costs tens of thousands in depreciation, which is unbearable. Seventh, the cell phone signal in the car is terrible. There's no signal at all unless you open the windows. So I'd rather buy a Toyota Camry than a Rolls Royce.
Dude, I have a Toyota Camry. You want to swap?
Literally when I thought I heard it all, y'all, that there's that one case, and I'm telling you, this is that one case. So this happened in Poland, and they came across this small town, and basically this man had been having a relationship with his 20-year-old daughter for years. How many years? I'm not sure, but there ended up being at least 12 kids on this property, some of them being deceased and found in their own grave that they made on the property. So this man was basically arrested because there were suspicions of weird stuff going on. There was screaming coming from that house. It was a very small town. I want to say it was 500 people total in the town. His wife had passed away, leaving him all the kids to himself. Now, him and his daughter, his 20-year-old daughter, seemed to be oddly close and, hold hands and things of that nature while they were out in public. And at one point, it even seemed like she was pregnant from him. Come to find out, y'all, they had this whole underground type thing, which I don't know why, but all these creepy type people have this, where they kept the unalived babies formed from incest between him and her dad. Her and her dad. Now, the strange and creepy thing about this is the fact that they arrested both of them. They arrested her and they arrested him. I feel like she is a victim as well, because who knows how long he had been grooming her to believe that this is normal, and who knows how long he had been SAing her. So I do hope she gets justice too, because this is just so heartbreaking.
Please don't tell me there's doo-doo on her face. Please tell me there's Nutella.
We need to talk. How many people have seen this on their FYP?
It's an update in regards to the missing TikToker who brought us the viral videos of the potentially new fault line that has arisen in Wyoming. And why this is so alarming is it's only 100 miles away from Yellowstone, which we know is a super volcano.
Well, I got some things to show you. For entertainment value, of course, because I know absolutely nothing, and I'm just making this stuff up. Now, I'm not going to touch on the missing person aspect of that video because people go missing for a lot of different reasons. But if you want to follow along with that situation, it's going on right now, so just search it. It's not hard to find. Now, that crack that's featured in that video is in Wyoming. Now, let me refresh your memory on something else that happened recently in Wyoming.
In a shocking turn of events, Wyoming's Teton Pass Road, a crucial artery for the local community and tourists alike, has suffered a catastrophic collapse. This isn't just a small crack in the pavement we're talking about. A significant portion of the road at milepost 12.8 has completely given way following a landslide. Now,
All right, now let me give you an idea of why all these things could be happening. See, the topsoil in Wyoming has been mined for a long time now because of a thing called bentonite. Matter of fact, Wyoming holds 70% of the world's supply of bentonite, something they also call magic mud.
Yeah, I heard about
and
this.
They call it magic or miracle mud because it's in everything. They use it for crayons, medications, cosmetics, lipstick. The list goes on and on. Oh, and fun fact, did you know Wyoming has a history of underground tunnels? Some people say they're haunted. And some of these tunnels have been around since the 1800s. But anyway, back to the mining. See, in 2013, a certain discovery was made in Wyoming that was pretty significant. I mean, 500 billion, it's a lot of zeros. And I'm sure most people have a pretty good understanding of all the uses for the big L. And I'm sure most people know the value of it as well. Now, to me, already, that's enough money involved to try to keep quiet what you're doing to the earth in Wyoming. But we're just getting started. See why they were drilling for the Big L? A certain discovery of rare earth metals could put the United States at the leaders of the world. I mean, they're already estimating that they've found 2.5 billion metric tons of rare earth minerals. We're talking being able to supply the entire EV market. Military drones, missiles, pretty much anything that has a computer chip in it. I mean, I couldn't understand why they'd want to keep somebody quiet about what was going on in this area. Can you? But my question is, how long can we keep digging into the ground and mining before we start messing with the natural order of things? I mean, it's not like there's a super volcano right next door or anything. Or that we're doing this same thing across the world.
Yeah.
Y'all stay safe.
What's far more concerning is why all the videos have been removed about this. This man put out great content. His research skill is amazing.
The cartels weren't making as much money. They've gone from making $500 million to $13 billion a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can you
It
say
changed
that again?
overnight.
So from 2021, they went from
They were
500
in 2020,
million.
they were making $500 million a year to 2021, now making $13 billion a year.
Wait, we're talking 1 year?
No.
That's how quickly it changed. And they're consistently making that kind of money now.
Holy
Why? Because of the human trafficking and the drug trafficking. So fentanyl is a big part of it. And the other part is they've become global. What we did with the open border policies, you gave them the ability to grow their businesses. Why? Because you gave them cash on hand. Where does the cash on hand come from? It comes from the people who come from all over the world who now are going to give the cartel $5,000, $6,000, up to $50,000, depending on what country you come from.
Cartels have been making billions since the 90s.
Satan doesn't tell us to sin. What? He tells us to do well. The Bible tells us that Satan is the master deceiver, a scammer. Do they tell you all the evil things that they're gonna do first? Do they say, hey, I'm gonna trick you for all you got. I'm gonna act like your best friend and I'm gonna take all your money? Of course not. What do? They plant good words, good thoughts first. Thoughts that you'll make money, thoughts that you'll be wealthy, thoughts and actions that seem like they're trying to help you, and they seem very sweet and too good to be true. In other words, they groom you. But the end result, if you listen to that, is what? Pain, misery, and deception. He tells you, live a good life, follow the commandments, God will bless you. And then when you're following the commandments and he doesn't bless you, anger. Why, God? I followed your commandments. I did everything you asked. Why? I'm obedient. I am good. He plays all of us this way. And then you get angry at God.
This is
But
good.
God wants to bless us through grace, not
Yep.
transactionally. People who don't realize this, they start to build resentment towards God because they don't understand how Satan works. And then they start to feel abandoned by God. This is the work of Satan. When a person's spirit is crushed, they naturally submit. Sheesh. And Satan starts to drag you under the false pretenses that God has abandoned you.
This is very true. I'm blessed because what Jesus did on the cross. The enemy is the great deceiver. Put on the armor of God.
Walter Russell, the greatest genius of the 20th century, was able to violate many reified concepts of man falsely termed laws by science. He was able to produce over-unity technologies capable of amplifying a small amount of electricity into extraordinary heat and power. He successfully performed low-temperature, low-energy atomic transformation, turning one element into another. And he discovered a holistic way of looking at our universe that anyone can understand. And when he wasn't busy solving the mysteries of our universe, he painted, sculpted, played and created music, trained and rode horses, drew the children of the most famous people in America, designed and built architecture, and of course hung out with Nikola Tesla and Mark Twain. I bet you'd never heard of Walter Russell before. Why don't we know about someone who was so influential? Well, it's pretty simple. Conventional science is a religion based on reductionism and scarcity. The wealthy elite of this world use it as a tool to beat down and control us. Russell taught that we cannot die and that everything in the physical world is consciousness experiencing itself
Through
through
sex. Yep.
and that most of the laws of physics are just bullshit dreamed up by mathematicians that can be totally violated up, down, left, right, and center and then stomped on for good measure. The wealthy controllers of this world weren't too happy with Walter Russell because their power rested upon a foundation of fear, scarcity, and limitation. So they obscured his work with that of people who never really achieved much of anything positive for humanity.
This guy thought that we cannot die and everything is consciousness experiencing itself through sex. And this dude is a genius. Get out of here. All right, folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. There's a free gift below if you like, and if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are also in the description below. Thank you for watching. Have a prosperous day, and God bless.